Orzammar kind of sputtering, looking helplessly at the rest of you, like,
Elian does not know enough about any of this to know how to help him.
well, you can roll cultural lore to see if you know about anything about the Shaper of Memories. So, Elian, the Shaper of Memories is an officially designated position in Orzammar. All genealogies and all histories are documented by an organization called the Shaperate. The Shaperate literally carves memories into stone with lyrium, so they are as permanent can possibly be. And allegedly, the Shaperate is without any political bias. Like, they're just a neutral organization that records what happens and who sired who married who, that kind of thing. But that said, of course they're not politically neutral. Of course they're not. All the time, kings of Orzammar past have stricken various people and names and events from the records, from what's called the memories. The capital M memories. And when that happens, you might as well have never existed within Orzammar. So Talgan is saying that House Dunmoral, like, in its entirety, has been stricken from the memories. And King Bhelen is saying, I am not a big fan of the Shaper of Memories. I want to assert my dominance over him. And I think a really good way to do that would be to bring back a respected house that was stripped from the memories. Like, force the idea that my way is more correct than even the Shaper of Memories.
Interesting.
Because remember, like, the dwarves, this is their religion, the dwarves. They worship their ancestors as though they were gods. So this is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
The Shaper of Memories is very politically powerful. And Telgan does not look comfy with this idea. He looks extremely uncomfortable.
This is the trade he's offered us in, right? Like, this is the only thing he's offered for us to be able to be given access to the emissary.
Yep, you could try bribing him. You could try saying, like, hey, you owe my brother a favor. They're going to be very high persuasion rolls, but it's something you could try.
I feel like that's, like, what we should try first before throwing poor Talgan to the wolves here.
Cass is like, oh, why is it always politics?
I'm going to, like, elbow Ren and be like, he owes you a favor.
Ren is, he's elbowed and he looks down at you. Like, he doesn't really know Talgan super well. He's like, 1 second. And then he turns around and he grabs all of you by your shoulders and he, like, huddles you over. He's like, why is this a bad plan? That seems like a fine plan. Why is this bad?
I don't know. Talgan just looks very uncomfortable.
Talgan's like, why the fuck would I want to be a noble? This place kicked my mother out, strick her family records just because she had a baby.
That is pretty bad.
He says, I don't want to fucking come back here. I don't want to be a noble. And it's like, okay, I mean, I'm not going to be on the, no, actually, Orzammar is not shitty train because, you know, I had, like, the first-hand experience of how shitty Orzammar was, but I'm just saying, like, it's not the worst thing, right? Like, you'd at least be a noble.
I mean, you'd have power.
Talgan's like, what the fuck would I do with power?
What does anyone do with power?
Get back at them.
What, just me and my shitty one-person house that doesn't have any immediate access to heirs?
Get married!
I don't want to get married.
Ariel.
Just figure we're brainstorming.
He says, I don't know how to do this political shit. And it's like, I mean, I can try to talk him out of it, but, like, it's not. And then in the background, you hear King Bhelen. It's like, you know, like, if I wanted to, I could just walk 3 feet over to you and hear everything you're saying.
You sure could.
It's like, I'm just saying, I'm not going to guarantee this is going to work. I'm not super persuasive. I didn't have to be persuasive. I had treaties.
Can't Elian be like, I've heard that you owe Ren a favor. I heard so many stories of, like, this thing, and then you try to persuade him, so it's not Ren doing it?
I mean, Elian's riding a high. He could do anything.
He just talked the Empress into giving him an army, like.
Okay, so maybe something along the lines of, I think Elian just straightens up and turns to face him. Well, Your Majesty, it's true, we have disbanded the Wardens, and you don't owe them anything. But I think you do owe something to Ren Sabre.
He leans back a little bit in his throne and he says, oh, do I?
He could have supported anyone that he wanted.
He could have, and yet he chose to support me because he knew I was the better option. We had a deal, him and I. Ren's like, it's not exactly, I wouldn't say we had a deal. And he says, you wanted troops to fight the Blight, I wanted the crown. It was all very copacetic, wouldn't you say?
That still would be something that was more a deal with the wardens than Ren.
And he says, you expect me to kowtow to him because he chose the obviously better choice?
You don't strike me as a man who likes to be in others' debts. Wouldn't it be better to clear with this one?
He says, I am not a man who likes to be in others' debts, which is why I am not in anyone's debt. Not yours, and certainly not Ren Sabray's. Fine, he was somewhat instrumental in putting me on the throne, but you know what I did to help him? I gave him an army, and now he's back here asking for an army a second time, and he's not going to be able to make me king a second time. And it's at this point that Talgan breaks forward. He says, Your Majesty, I don't want to be dwarven nobility. Just sort of awkwardly laying it out on the table. And King Bhelen sort of stares down the nose at him and he says, Why the hell not? He says, Because it sucks! Being noble is what drove my mother beyond her sense. It's what ripped her away from her family and her people. He says, Why in the Creator's name would I want to carry on such a wicked legacy? And Bhelen says, Because I'm telling you to. And because if you want the Legion of the Dead to help you, then you're going to have to give me something in return. Do you have anything of equivalent exchange, or am I just wasting my time here?
I sort of like glance at the corner of my eye at Elian. I'm like, and mouth Vivian.
What if we could help secure more trade in lyrium for you?
He makes a dismissive hand gesture. The Chantry is already stepping back in power and influence. I've opened up Orzammar to other forms of trade. We're not reliant on just lyrium anymore.
I'm not talking about the Chantry.
And who else would buy that much lyrium?
We have connections with the Circle of Magi and with the Archon.
He says, You have connections with the Circle of Magi and the Archon. You barely look like you're off the teat, boy.
Don't discount youth.
The DC for this persuasion roll is 20.
Ooh, damn.
Jeez.
That's even higher than Celine.
Cool.
He comes closer toward the five of you, still standing at the base of the throne, and he says, I'll discount whatever I damn well please. I am the king of Orzammar. Now, again I ask, are you going to offer something of equivalent exchange, or am I wasting my time here?
I don't, like, I can't think of anything. That was what we got.
Yeah, that was...
Vivian, yeah, and like, hey, we know people, and he's like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, you're kind of out of options.
I just sort of like look sadly at Talgan like, I don't think we have a choice.
Talgan looks desperately up at the others, at everyone. He's like, you're not seriously gonna...
I mean, we could walk away, right?
Yeah, you can walk away.
That's the
Yeah.
other option, too.
You could not get the Legion of the Dead to help you. That is an option.
Because I feel very morally bad about this.
Yeah. It's just that
Yep.
the only good thing about like the Legion is that like they literally fight Darkspawn. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are,
Yeah.
aside from the Grey Wardens, they are the preeminent experts on killing Darkspawn.
I think I'm just going to turn to Talgan. I'm going to turn my back on the king and just turn to Talgan and say, Talgan, we can walk away right now.
Talgan says, he looks really doubtful.
We can leave. We don't have to be here. We can just walk out. There are other options. We do not need, and I spit at the ground.
Oh, Jesus. Spray.
This would have been a nice bonus, but it's not necessary.
He says, the best people in the world to fight Darkspawn short of the Grey Warden are optional, is what you're telling me.
I would never force a man into slavery, Talgan, no matter what that looks like.
Behind you, King Bhelen says, are you a lackwit?
I just sort of like give him a finger.
I'm not selling him into slavery. I am trying to raise him up to nobility.
I ignore him completely because I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to Talgan.
Ugh. I hate this because, like, Elian is still very much of the opinion that, like, you could still have power. You, like, clearly the castless have power here now because there's literally a queen on the throne who is castless. So things are changing and you could change them more.
Ren glares at King Bhelen and ushers you all a little bit further away and continues to whisper shout.
Whisper shout.
He says, it's like, Talgan, okay, look, buddy, friendo, my dude, Short King, I understand that you've assigned some trauma to this place, okay? Like, I understand what it's like to have generational trauma. I promise I do. But, like, we can't just give up the Legion of the Dead. We don't have the Great Wardens anymore. We need someone, a big pile of someones who are really good at killing Darkspawn. And if we don't have the fucking Great Wardens, we need the Legion.
I'm like hissing at Ren, like if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. Do you want to be trapped in this place?
He says, Yariel, little brother, look, I get it. I understand that you're idealistic, but I lived through the 5th Blight. I saw what it almost did to Ferelden. It is going to be a fucking cold comfort that you did things the right way if everyone in Thedas dies.
I mean, I'm planning on not making it out of this alive, so it's not like...
He grabs you by the scruff of your neck and he says, you are making it out of this alive. Do you fucking hear me? I'm not going to lose one more elf to the Blight. Especially not you.
It's a noble idea, Ren, but...
We don't have time for nobility. We have to do what is going to save lives.
I cannot ask him to do this.
He says, then I'll ask him. He turns to Talgan and he says, I know you don't like this, but we have to do this. Poor Talgan.
Oh,
He looks like he's having a bad day.
yeah.
Talgan turns away and he spends a couple minutes rubbing his forehead. King Bhelen's like, I honestly did not expect this much drama from the question, do you want to be a nobleman? I'm going to go ahead and have actually Ren roll persuasion, attempting to persuade Talgan.
Oh, God.
I'm going to set the DC as 13. That's a pretty good DC.
Ooh.
Aw,
Okay.
I don't like this.
Eventually, Talgan's shoulders sag, and he says, alright, fine.
Wait, what?
Are you sure?
Talgan, you're not seriously thinking about...
I said, fine, I'll do it. Your brother's not wrong. We can't afford to faff around in the face of a blight. And he, pushes past you and he says, fine. Your Majesty, with this huge, extravagant fake bow. I am at your service. And King Bhelen says, goodness, all the drama. And he comes and he sort of closes the distance between himself and Talgan and puts, a very paternal hand on Talgan's shoulder. And Talgan looks like he wants to rip his arm off his socket. And he says, your family had an ancient Tig, they say, not far from the dead trenches. He says, I can think of nothing better to herald the return of House Dunmoral than their last scion coming back with a precious artifact pulled out of it. Something like that. Find something good. Present it to the Shaperate, and I will command the Shaper of Memories to unstrike your house from the record. It'll be a very nice power move. And he heads back up to the dais with his castless queen.
I hate this.
Yeah, I just definitely sorry, Talgan.
Talgan looks like he is breathing smoke out of his nose. He turns on a heel and he storms out.
Ugh.
Elian goes after him.
I really want to start a fight with Ren, but I'm not going to. I'm just sulking.
Yeah, I sort of drag you out too. I'm like, let's go.
So you all follow Talgan out. He strides right back through the royal quarter and out into the diamond quarter, and he leans hard on the balustrade that overlooks the lake of lava far beneath him. And he spends a couple minutes just taking a couple shuddering breaths. He is pissed.
Do you need a drink? Elian, do you still have that? What was it?
Elian goes over and just hesitantly puts an arm or hand on his shoulder.
He immediately shrugs it off. He turns and he says, not now.
Okay.
It was his goddamn father that struck my mother from the records. He was the one that signed the affidavit that... And Ren's like, I'm sorry, Talgan, but there's some shit that we just have to do. And Talgan says, yeah, I got it. And he says, I'm going to the inn. And he turns and he leaves.
I think it's best to leave him for now.
I'm gonna turn around and be like, are you fucking happy?
He says, it's not about happiness, Yariel. It's never been about happiness. Nobility is a great ideal to aspire to, but when the entire fate of the world is at stake, sometimes you just have to make ugly
There was
sacrifices.
maybe another way, Ren. It's not always just this way. Sometimes you can find another way, the right way.
Oh, another way that doesn't involve having expert darkspawn killers?
We are not gonna win every battle, Ren. Not every single one. And sometimes we are gonna have to make sacrifices. I think you should know that.
There's a difference between losing every battle and winning any of them. Sabray.
I don't need you, Yariel, to lecture me about what battles that I need to win. I was the one who actually had to kill the archdemon. I was the one who lived through a blight.
And I was the one who lost you. Sometimes we lose things.
He says, I know it was painful for you, but here's another painful thing. If I had to, I would do it again. Because it saved the world!
No, don't you fucking dare. I'm like up at his face. If it comes down to again, you get out, you run, you leave it alone. You've done your fucking time.
I am not more important than every single person on Thetis, and it is high time that you understand that!
I like throw my hands up in the air. I'm tired of your fucking martyr complex, Ren.
He says, you really just don't get it.
No, I guess not. I'm gonna leave. I'm just gonna stalk off.
Ren's also gonna stalk off.
And then there were two.
Cassandra and Elliot standing there.
Right. I just sort of look at Ellie and like, do you want to get Ren or Yariel?
Well, I disagree less with Ren right now. It's wrong that we had to ask Talgan to do this, but Ren is right. What other choice did we have?
Right, I'll take Yariel because he will kill you if you tell him that.
Where does Sabray go?
I'm gonna go pick up my shield.
Oh, yeah. So, it's only been like an hour most, right?
Yeah.
And you're now in an extremely bad mood.
Yep.
And the shopkeep says, oh, I've got your shield, she says. This very stormy look.
Great, thank you. I throw down money.
She says, okay, pleasure doing business with you.
I look at the craftsmanship. I turn back and I say, it's really nice work.
Thank you.
Great, I walk out.
I feel like I'm standing outside, after, you walk out, I'm like, oh, it's not hard to find an elf. I'm like, oh, there you are.
I think I just run directly into your chest.
Right.
Because I'm not, looking while I walk, I'm just angrily walking.
I'm just like, ow, nice shield.
What are you doing there? Why are you so tall?
I will find the nearest Tamasaran and ask why we are bred so tall. I promise, Yariel.
I throw my hands up in the air. That's not what I meant, Cassandra.
I just sort of laugh. I'm like, yeah, I know. So...
I, keep walking. Well, are you coming or not?
I follow. I'm like, where are you going?
I don't know. I'm just gonna walk until I see something that makes me less angry. Or more angry. And then I punch it.
Probably not a good idea, because it might be a dwarf, and then we're already in political shit.
No, it's not a person. Like a door. Possibly a statue. If there's a statue of the king, I might beat that up.
Ooh.
I start looking frantically around for a statue of the king.
I'm gonna, try to stop you. I'm like, okay. Yariel, remember how in the beginning when we were walking through, your brother and Talgan were talking about paragons? I feel like it's probably sacrilege if you hit a statue.
Well, he's not dead yet, so they can't worship him, right?
Nah.
You're saying you don't want to beat up a statue with me?
I'm saying maybe we should talk instead.
I don't like talk. I already talked. It was upsetting. I don't like it.
Okay. You could hit me if it makes you feel better.
I don't want to hit you, Cassandra, your family. Well, I do want to hit some of my family, but not you.
Right. About family.
I don't want to talk about it.
You literally just yelled at your brother in the streets of Orzammar.
That is indeed what happened. Very astute.
You already, I feel like everybody who passed by, knows about it already.
Do you think maybe I should shout at him some more? That might help.
No, I don't think so. Listen, you didn't see what I saw in the Fade. I know how much this hurts. Talgan, I don't know. I haven't really talked to him a lot, but I saw a lot of the after effects of what it did to his mother. And
well, it's all the more reason for us not to have done it.
Right. I agree with you on that part, but I want you to know before I say this that I hate that I am using my people this way, because I fucking hate my culture too, but the Kenari are all about duty. The things that we do are not for ourselves, they're for the betterment of the whole. We see our society as a living, breathing thing. Everyone has a role to play in that. And I understand, and I grieve for Talgan, I do. But he is just one drop of blood in the organism of all of the people of Thetis.
So what, he shouldn't have free will because of it? I mean, Cassandra, you talk about the Kyun, but you escaped from them. You left because of what they did. How is this any different than what they did to you? I know I'm exaggerating some, but still.
I just raise an eyebrow. I'm like, exaggerating some. You exaggerate much, Uriel. As far as I can tell, Talgin's mouth was not sewn shut for asking questions. It's not the same thing. Yes, he is going to be angry about it for a while, and you know that I, of all people, would never take someone's freedom from them. I would never do that.
But convincing them and telling them that they have no other choice, isn't that the same thing? Isn't that what we just did?
We need people who know how to fight Darkspawn. I know very little of the world, but even I know that we need people who can help us. Imagine if we had just gone and fought Darkspawn by ourselves without Zevran giving us Silverite weapons. He knows that. He gave us that information.
Willingly. He willingly gave us that. If this is what we're willing to do, what other depths will we seek to? How far? What's too far, Cassandra? What is too far before we say that it's all in the name of the Blight and that anything we do is justified? I have to believe in people's freedoms. I have to believe in being an individual with rights, or I don't think I can walk out there and slay a single demon.
I understand that. Believe me. I was a thing before I met you. Not even a person. A soulless thing. And now I have a name and a family because of you and Elian. It's something I never even dreamed of.
And I'm glad we could do that for you. I really am, Cassandra. Who's going to be there to do that for Talgin after we've abandoned him?
We're not abandoning him.
No?
We're not leaving him here to die, Yoriel. We can still talk to him, visit him. He's still part of our group.
This just feels like a cage, Cassandra. A very, very big cage, but still a cage.
So, Elian, you follow Ren, you chase him down. He is finding the rookery, and he is bent over a table penning a quick letter to send off to Minrathis. Just, an update. They're like, hey, we're gonna have to go into the deep roads. So maybe send some people up here so we can talk about that. He seems very intent.
Are you alright?
He sighs. It's not about me.
Part of it is. Sabre was right in that, at least. You are still an individual.
He sighs and he stands up and he says, yeah, look, I understand where he's coming from. When I was younger, I was a lot like him. It's kind of frightening, actually. He leans back down and he finishes up a sentence. And he says, I know my brother very well. I know that he is passionately dedicated to very noble ideas, and that is part of why I love him so much, but if life is all about liberty, then you have to sacrifice safety, and if life is all about safety, you have to sacrifice liberty. There's gotta be a balance. It was one of the hardest lessons I learned as a Grey Warden. That's why I was willing to walk away from Morrigan's ritual. He says, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it's not about me.
We made this mess, and I'm sorry for it. If we hadn't disbanded the Wardens, but...
He says, no, the Wardens deserved their fate. Don't second guess yourself on that. There is a certain amount of evil that is absolutely unjustifiable. But this isn't it. This is a big ask, I know, and Telgin's not happy, I know. But we need help. And I don't think Uriel fully grasps just how dangerous a blight can be.
I don't think he does either. I'm amazed that he's managed to forget that it was only recently we were fighting, well beyond our means.
He folds up the letter, stamps it with a very plain wax seal, hands it to the nearest bird, and watches it take off through a very narrow gap. Everything in Orzammar is they don't want any sunlight in.
Yeah.
To the extent where the rookery, it's at the very top of the mountain, but the paths that the birds take are curved spirals so that no sunlight can get down. Which is excessive, yes. It's very excessive. And he says, I'll figure out something. We are brothers. It's literally impossible for us to stay mad at each other forever. Despite how much we might wish to.
I don't know, he's pretty good at holding grudges.
Not from me.
Yeah, he's right. I was actually planning on resolving this the way that I've always resolved problems with my siblings, which is we just never talk about it again.
He says, did I ever tell you about the time that Zevran almost got decapitated by an ogre?
No.
Well, Zevran almost got decapitated by an ogre. We were actually in the dead trenches when it happened. I remember killing it, dispatching it quickly, and then rushing over to his side, and I swear to God, I thought he was dead. The line of gore, it went from his right shoulder to his left armpit. I thought he was cut in half. It was enough. We had a big scare where we thought he had the blight, and anyway. If Yariel is ever stupid enough to catch the blight, I'm just gonna... I don't even want to think about what would happen to me, to him. I don't want another blight. And I don't want to fight, but we don't got a choice. It's a blight. If we don't fight, the world's gonna end. And that's why the balance has to be struck. Life can't be all about liberty, and it also can't be all about safety, but you've got to find a balance.
Ren, I agree with you.
See, I don't even know why I'm trying to persuade you. He says, come on, let's get super drunk.
We should at least buy Talgan a drink.
Oh, that poor man. Maybe we can purchase our forgiveness with lots of alcohol.
I doubt it, but it's worth a shot.
The entire inner circle of the Lucerni makes a quick exit to Orzammar because they get Ren's missive and we're gonna have to go into the deep roads. Okay, we're gonna have to plan for this. The short version of the story is that you all meet up at Tapster's Tavern, which is a very popular tavern in the Commons. They serve. So here's a fun thing you learn about dwarven-based liquor. It is mostly made from mold and lichen, which is a way to make alcohol.
It sure is.
It is a method of creating alcohol.
I don't like this.
It's way too strong. But it is what it is. It's what you have to work with. There are some imported wines and ales from the surface, but mostly it's lichen ale. And the entire Lucerni comes to meet you at Tapster's Tavern, and you're all sitting around one of the larger tables toward the back quarter. Dorian says, so, the deep roads. And it's only been about a day and a half, because, you've got the Alluvion to Kirkwall, and it's just a quick boat ride from Kirkwall to the entrance of Orzammar. I feel like things have settled a little bit between, it's just, you're not immediately at each other's throats whenever you're in the same room.
Yeah,
now,
I think we're probably just, not talking, kind of. You know what I mean?
And Dorian senses the energy.
Yeah.
You can tell. He's, looking between the two of you. It's he wants to know the tea, but... There's some more important stuff to go on. And Ren says, we've got an itinerary. We're supposed to go to the dead trenches, reclaim Telgan's old family tig, bring something back from it, and while we're down there, try to find the Legion of the Dead. They shouldn't be too far from the dead trenches right now. King Bhelen gave us a map, told us where to go. Dorian says, we can't just send a regular party down to the deep roads. We're going to need some extra help. The character select screen pops up. You can choose
Nice.
up to 3 combat allies to go with you into the deep roads. Your options are the same as ever. You can take Dorian, Fenris, Leander, Maevaris, Talgan, and Zevran. Of those, you can choose 3.
I feel like, don't we have to take Talgan?
I mean, yeah, for his quest, yeah.
Technically, you don't have to. The only thing King Bhelen said was that you need to reclaim his tig. so he technically doesn't have to be there, but
it's like
you
his
know,
house, and yeah,
right,
I
exactly. It's like extra dialogue. Let's go.
Yeah, you unlock the extra dialogue options if you can.
I'm about
okay,
that.
so I'm on board. Talgan, are we all good in that?
Yeah.
Telgan takes a long swig of ale.
I'm like,
Yeah, that's valid.
smashing things might help him feel better.
That's true. Telgan slams the cup down. It's like, smashing things usually does make me feel better.
I thought as much.
Who else?
I guess we have to bring my stupid fucking brother.
You don't have to. That was actually something that Dorian will bring up. He says, we have a couple Grey Wardens. We brought about a small platoon's worth up to Respite to have them guard Respite. But if you want to, we can send a warden with you. And Ren's like, you don't want to take me into the dead trenches, huh? And he looks at you, Yariel. He's very guarded.
It doesn't seem safe.
He clucks his tongue a little bit. He says, well, can't argue with that. I do have a demon inside of me.
Yep. So yeah, let's bring one of them.
Dorian says, I'm sure Tom will be more than willing to accompany you. And he says, Tom Rainier will be more than happy, I'm sure, to use his expertise as a warden and his ability to sense darkspawn.
Excellent.
So we have one more ally, and
You've got two more allies.
Oh, two
Tom
more.
does not count.
he doesn't count. That's right.
I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Who else we think we should bring? Probably a mage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the thing. My girlfriend's dying, but she is also a great healer.
She's a
Yeah,
great
I
healer,
know.
and it's not like she can get the blight twice.
It's true.
I think that's actually a great idea. That's a
Oh
good
my
point.
god! Extra angst. My heart has already been broken. It's fine. I was gonna suggest Fenris.
If you're going for tactics, you'll obviously want someone who's fought Darkspawn before. Zevran is a good choice.
I was
probably.
thinking Zevran would be a good idea.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the idea of bringing Meg because she is so sick, but we do need a healer, and also it's a good excuse for you to talk.
I know it
It's
is,
true.
and we get to take Zephyrin back to the place where he almost died.
Talgan, Zevran, Mayvarius. I don't know that much about Darkspawn, so I'm gonna trust you guys.
I don't know anything about this, but I know you need a healer.
Okay, I'm on board for that. I think those three people are pretty good. So we've got because we have a good mix too. We got a mage, a rogue, and
And a tank.
a tank.
Yeah.
Yes, healers are a good thing to have in the Deep Woods, that is true. So after debating it for a while, you decide, okay, so you are going to be taking Mayvarius Tyloni, Telgan Dunmoro, and Zevran Aranai. Zevran does not look happy about it, Telgan does not look happy about it, Mayvarius looks just as pleasant as ever. She does not have any bad memories associated with the Deep Roads, but she's gonna soon.
Oh no.
Soon she will.
All of us will.
You begin the process of preparing, like going into the Deep Roads for an extended period of time there's a reason they're called expeditions, right? Like you need supplies, you need food for several weeks, you need bedrolls, you need as many maps as you could possibly fucking find. You need all the assistance you can get. You've all scattered around the table now, and Dorian's making the itineraries. Like, we're gonna need this, and this, and this. And everyone's bent over the table, talking in various pockets. Lennon kind of sidles over to you, Sabre. He says, "So, going to the Deep Roads, huh?"
Yeah. I'm getting the impression I will not be enjoying this.
He says, "Well, speaking as someone who has been to the Deep Roads before, let me give you just a couple. Here's some advice that they're not going to give you. When you actually pass the guards, you might want. Have you ever, that really strong-smelling mint concentrate that you can get to like rub on your chest when you have a cold and stuff, and it like clears
Vicks
up
Vapor
your
Rub?
Fantasy Vicks Vapor Rub. He says it sounds stupid, but Darkspawn, when you get into a nest, you will be thanking me for reminding you to bring this, and he hands you like a small bottle. Just put a little thing underneath the nose. It's gonna save your life.
Oh, thank you. I would definitely not have thought of this.
And he says, also, if you die, I will be extremely upset, so please don't die.
Well, I'll keep those two pieces of advice very close to my heart.
Fantasy Vicks Vapor Rub and please don't die. Those are Lennon's.
I'm writing it down in my journal right now. I have like a little imaginary hand journal, and I'm just like, Vicks Vapor Rub, not dying.
Fantasy Vicks Vapor Rub.
I think I'm just, like, laughing at him. I'm like, I think it'll be fine. I'm not gonna die. I haven't died so far. There's been a lot of really bad things.
You know, like, everyone has a spotless track record of not dying until they die.
Well,
so.
that's true. I mean, same goes for you. Not the Vicks Vapo Rub, the fantasy Vicks Vapo Rub. But please don't die while I'm gone. I would also be very angry when I get back.
He says, yeah, well, you know, I'm not going to be encountering any Darkspawn. So, he says, just be careful, okay?
I, like, reach out, and I give him, like, a long kiss, and I'm like, I promise I'll come back.
He says, I will hold you to that, and if you die, I will go down to the deep roads, resurrect you, and then kill you again.
That sounds fun. Let's do that.
And it'll hurt worse.
Okay, yeah.
The second time.
Sure, I'm sure it will.
Cassandra,
Yes.
within a couple of minutes, the itinerary has been set, and everyone has been assigned, like, so you go out and buy this, you go out and buy that, you go here and this, and Mayveris, sinks back into her chair, and she looks across the table at you, and she sort of smiles tiredly. Well, looks like we're off on an adventure.
I definitely immediately close that distance and put my hands on her shoulders and like, yes, it's the first time we'll be in battle together properly.
She says, well, I can't say it would be a good way to die, but it would definitely be a useful way to die if it were to happen down there. I suppose that's about as much as I could ask for at this point.
How have you been feeling?
Not great. I've felt it progressing. Sometimes I hear strange singing when I close my eyes, and
Would I know? I was like, would Cass know that that's bad? Because IK had a bit of alarm.
roll arcane lore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not good. That means the blight is progressing pretty fast. If she's at the hearing singing phase, that means it's... Well, I mean, she's obviously been able to prolong it with her healing magic. So, like, with anyone else, you would say, like, oh, so you've got, like, at most a week before you turn into a shriek?
Yeah.
But with Mayveris, you know, maybe a month or two?
Yeah, that definitely is not great here, and like...
It's good that you're doing this, because, like, you've got to convince her now.
Cass, like, leans, or definitely, like, kneels down in front of him, like, you hear singing?
Just sometimes. Faint and distant.
That's probably bad. No, definitely bad, from what I know.
It's alright. Like I said, if worse comes to worse, it is a useful way to die.
You know that I love being useful, and I love that you love being useful, but I don't really like it a lot when you think of yourself that way.
We've talked about this, darling.
I know.
It's gonna happen.
I know it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen soon.
I don't want it to happen soon, and I won't let it happen soon, May.
She strokes a very fond hand through your hair. If wishes were fishes, we'd all be swimming. She says, it's okay. I've made peace with myself. I don't believe that the Maker will be waiting for me. I don't believe I will ascend to his side. But I'll be okay. Whatever's waiting for me, I'll be fine.
Oh boy. Delightful.
Yeah, it sounds like May is fully expecting to die on
Right.
this journey.
I feel like Cass is going to grab, or at least tightly hold, between her own two hands, like one of May's hands, is like, if you die, Kadan, I will go into the Fade and I will bring you back. I swear it.
Oh, that's very ambitious, my dear.
It is. The ambition that I've had since falling in love with you is astonishing. The lengths that I would go to for you.
She says, you did promise me, Melila.
I know.
Promised you would let it go.
I know I promised, but what if we find another way?
My dear. She looks so tired. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you promised me you would let this go. Don't make this harder on yourself than it has to be.
It's not about it being hard on me, May.
Really? Because that seems like this is what it's about. It seems like it's about you. Because, like I've said, I'm at peace with this. You're the only one hurting.
You think that if I make peace with it, that I'll somehow magically heal and stop hurting?
No, but I think it will help the process along.
You've lost someone, May. Tell me, how does it feel for you?
She is silent for a really, really long time. It's like a little shard of glass in the heart. Never really goes away. And every time it beats, you feel that little jab. But my pain is not yours. It's a different circumstance.
Right. Watching someone you love die in front of you, slowly, of an illness, is different.
She just sort of smiles painfully and she says, I should probably go help Dorian back. She bends forward and she kisses your forehead and then stands up. Elian.
Yep.
Leander unceremoniously drops a bag, like it thuds, right on the table in front of you, kind of shaking you out of your delirium.
What? Leander?
You should be taking me with you.
What? We need a healer. And I don't like taking May any more than you two.
Then tell Zevran to stay home. I'll go in his place.
Why would you do that?
It should be me. I should be the one going with you.
Why? Why do you say that?
You know well why.
I think Elian just reaches over for his hand.
He withdraws his hand and puts it in his pocket, and he says, tell Zevran to stay home. I will go with you into the deep roads.
Leander, I don't want to risk you either.
But it's okay if I risk you.
I don't have a choice.
Yes, you do. Tell Zevran to stay home. I will go with you.
Have you ever fought them?
He sighs. Once.
Have you ever been to the deep roads?
No. You know I haven't.
We need his experience, Leander.
He says, then why are you not taking Ren Sabre with you?
He has an archdemon. If we're down there and it comes out, we'd certainly be dead. At least this way there's a chance.
He says, so I'm just expected to stay up here on the surface and wait for you? Tell me, Elian, situations reversed, would you allow this to happen?
You know I wouldn't.
Just so we're aware of the hypocrisy.
I don't want to go. I don't want any of this. I don't want to leave you ever.
He says, then tell Zevran to stay. I will go in his place. I understand you need his expertise, but you're already taking a Grey Warden with you.
What if I lose you?
Then at least we'll be together. You can see little particles of frost coating the table where his hand is.
It's not just up to me, Leander.
I'll talk to Dorian myself if I have to. So, this is a character decision too. Leander is saying, leave Zevran behind, take me instead. Zevran, he's not super eager to go to the deep roads, he'll do it if you ask him to, but he did almost die there.
Yeah, for true.
He is posing this to you as a capital C choice. He's saying, leave Zevran behind, take me with you.
Makes a good point. We do have a warden.
He's not the warden, but he's a warden.
Yeah.
He is also very stabby, and will keep me from making bad decisions.
Well, he's more shooty than stabby.
Ranged rogues are good. We like ranged rogues.
At the protracted hesitation, he makes a fist on the table and the ice spreads out a little wider. And he says, Elian, please do not leave me behind. If something happened to you down there and I wasn't there,
I think Elian's just gonna pull him into a kiss, or at least try to.
He has been trying to keep his emotional distance, but he gives in just this one time. Dorian is in the background plotting your death, but that's a problem to be dealt with later.
Of course.
That's nothing new. If I do this and you die, you know that I'm never gonna forgive you.
He says, I have a sneaking suspicion that it won't be one of us. It'll be both or none. Yariel, you are all settling down in your Tapster's Tavern for the night. You've each got rooms, obviously, and you hear a very reluctant...
I feel like I know who it is.
Yeah, like in your bones, you know.
What do you want, asshole?
Open the door.
Fine. I, go over and I open it, but just enough that, I'm standing in front of him. I'm not letting him in yet.
The first thing he does is reach very reluctantly over his back. He pulls off your tonadol, his longbow, and he hands it to you.
But, Ren, no.
It's a loan, dipshit. You're gonna give it back to me when you are out of the deep roads, and you will be coming out.
Of course.
He says, No. You are coming back to me. Do you get it? I'm not gonna lose you to the deep roads. He clasps a hand on the back of your neck and he says, keep your mouth shut when you fight them. If any blood splatters on your face, the first thing you do, the second that Darkspawn is dead, is you wash the blood off. It can get in through your nose, it can get in through your eyes.
You've said this before, brother. I promise. I will be safe. You're making it very hard to be angry at you right now.
He says the first symptom of the blight is this fatigue, this numbness that starts in your fingertips, okay? And if you start noticing that symptom, you tell someone right away. Don't keep it to yourself.
I mean, isn't there nothing I can do after that happens?
He says, Yariel, for you, I would break into the Grey Warden vaults myself and find the recipe that saved my life.
I promise this to Lennon, but I swear it to you as well. I will come back, and I will come back without the blight.
He says, I suppose that's the best I can do. He puts an arm around your neck, and he, in that very, you can't get out of this sort of way, he kisses the side of your head, and he says, don't die. He locks you, and he's like, don't fucking die.
I have no plans to. Not this time.
Hey friends, Tessa here. If you're desperate to hear the next episode, chances are good that you can by joining our Discord server. We post links to all episodes and pre-release, and you can even chat with us and listen live as we record. Join us by going to bit.ly/cfcdiscord. For more information on the show, character biographies, and links to social media, head to our website, critfail.club or critfailclub.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Critfail Club does not advertise at all, so if you like what you hear, tell a friend who might also like it, make a post on social media about it, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/cfcchannel, or wherever you get your podcasts.